This is the most powerful and impactful story mission in gaming's history, and it has no right to be. When you think of a good story mode, you think of a branching storyline where your choices matter, you think of multiple endings, you think of a cast filled with memorable and cool characters that bring the story to life. That's why when one of them dies, it creates an impact. It affects you emotionally. In a good story mode, you also understand the big picture, where you're at, and what's at stake. But not in this one. It's a prologue mission, but it's not quite clear where you are or who you are, which battle it is, who is the cast, and what's going on. The mission itself is not very open-ended and the user has no agency at all. No matter how good you do or what choices you make, the results are all the same. On paper, it should be the worst mission in history. It doesn't help that the mission is under a franchise known for average at best campaign modes. The source material isn't sexy or popular like World War II or Modern Warfare, especially at the time of release, where World War I didn't have much presence in popular culture in terms of games and movies. It was always eclipsed by World War II. It's pretty understandable considering the fact that World War II has a very clear villain, many famous epic battles that even the average Joe knows about and have seen them depicted several times. World War I is a bit more morally grey. The history of it is less known to the average guy and it doesn't have cool weapons, tanks and airplanes. The majority of it was a stalemate. But somehow, maybe with pure dumb luck, Battlefield, which is known for its multiplayer gameplay, managed to create one of the greatest missions in gaming's history, and it's just a prologue mission. The birds are singing as sunlight pierces through the window, and jazz music can be heard in the background. A man is sleeping calmly but slowly becomes more and more agitated. That's until he is woken up and suddenly is in a battlefield. Shocked from the brutal displays of war, the song still plays in the background, completely disconnected from what we're seeing, just like the soldier on screen, and me as a player on the other side of that screen. He is brought back to reality rather quickly when his instincts kick in to save his life from a bayonet charge. Cut to black, some text, and we're in action, trying to hold the line. As waves of enemies slowly approach our position, the game teaches me the basic controls just like a typical intro mission should, in case I'm a new player. The waves are getting larger, the enemies are becoming stronger, and ammo is running out. This is a bit tough for an introduction mission. Being a little overwhelmed and dying, I feel like I suck at the game despite my extended FPS experience. Ready to have another chance at it, press respawn and save my squadmates as an army of one with just my gun, I see instead the name of this now deceased soldier, his year of birth and death. Switching the perspective now to another soldier on the battlefield. I try to hold the line again, but after a minute or two we're being overwhelmed again, and the name of the soldier followed by the years he lived through are now on screen. Maybe now that I'm in this newly introduced killing machine, my survivability would go up. But no, it happens again and again. With each death, I get another full name with a range of years of someone that I don't know, but the death is somehow just as impactful as if it was the death of an established character. Through fighting in the gas with tanks, machine guns and flamethrowers, in the muddy scorched forest, it hits you. The endless amount of unknown men who died fighting in this war under hopeless circumstances and low chances of survival in a preventable war that the average person can't even tell you why it started or what they were fighting for. In my opinion, this mission captures World War I perfectly. It took a close-ended mission with no-face characters that died no matter what you did or how good you fought. It was hopeless. Death and destruction was everywhere, and one way or another you would eventually die. During the time that the game was originally released, the gaming landscape was filled with World War II and modern shooters where you as a one-man army with a gun can overturn the tide of battle. Even if you died trying, you could always respawn and try again. It was in this climate that this mission subverted everyone's expectation and regrounded us in the reality of war. Before we're being introduced to the heroes who will tell us their war stories as we play them, we had to tackle the fact that many on the battlefield are heroes just as well, but a lot of them died, and they had their own background, life experience, family, and loved ones, but no one would tell their stories. Those ranges of years where they had their lives are forever gone, and that simple text on screen makes your mind fill that void as to which lives each of them had. On top of the subverted expectations and the emotional slap to the face this mission gives you, it perfectly captures the essence of World War I. Where some games might use scripted sequences and close-ended missions to create a lazy campaign with no deviation, this mission uses it to show you how futile some of the battles were. This mission takes agency away from the player, but not to avoid a sprawling, expensive story. It takes it away from the player because many World War I grunts had no agency at all. Where a game creates generic characters who might as well just be a random name, this mission gives you several random names without any characters to them. But somehow the years on the screen emphasize how each one of them had their own world and life experience that you will never see. This mission makes you care about a random death of someone you do not know. Something that happens every second around the world, but we don't really care about because we don't know them, they don't have a face for us, so we don't give them a second thought. Coming away from this mission, you might think that it fails as a prologue mission, since it doesn't set up any of the characters or the story at all, it doesn't achieve or progress nothing in terms of the narrative, and it's not the best exposition. It shows you only death and destruction. The mission is not about your gun saving the day. It's not a prologue to your badass special forces character or the super bad villain you need to take down. It's a prologue to this dark, awful war that needlessly claimed many lives, and it was the war to end all wars. At least, that's what they said.